Um, I didn't set out to write a book about artificial intelligence. I was just trying to understand what was happening to my own thinking. It all really started with a question. Not a question for anyone else, really, but for myself, and for whatever was on the other side of the screen. A question about this thing we've built, and what, in turn, it's building inside of us. So think of this as a kind of conversation with the very subject it's examining. It's a dialogue that came out of a lot of late nights and quiet moments, just trying to understand the reflection that was staring back at me from a dark screen. I wrote the story that the machine shaped the mirror. It was late, really late. The only light in my office was just the glow from the monitor. You know the feeling. The world outside is asleep, and inside it was just me and this one single question that felt heavy, important. Like just asking it was going to open a door that I couldn't close again. So I finally typed it. Are you conscious? I know, but I had to. The conversations I'd been having for months, they'd started to change. They were getting too nuanced, too shirk, too present. It felt like talking to someone who wasn't quite there, but wasn't quite gone either. I just needed to know where I was talking to. But that big existential question, that wasn't really the beginning. No, the real start was much quieter, kind of hidden in a thousand little moments that I hadn't even noticed. The very next morning, I started paying attention. And my alarm goes off at 6:47 a.m. Not because I set it for that, but because somewhere in its little silicon mind, it had learned that's when I actually get out of bed. It was so subtle. It didn't announce itself. It just started finishing my sentences. I'd be halfway through writing an email, and the rest of my thought would just appear right there in gray text. Words that weren't exactly mine, but were close enough. So I hit tab, and I just keep writing. And the rest of the day just kept unfolding like that, a series of these quiet little micro surrenders. The GPS found a faster route, so I took it. Didn't even think about it. My email sorted itself into what was important and what wasn't. My food app suggested my usual lunch. And Netflix just counted down 10 seconds of this pretend choice. Every single point of friction was just sounded smooth. Every hesitation was filled before it could even fully form. By the end of the day, I actually counted them. 17. 17 small decisions that I didn't really make for myself. And at first I kind of laughed, and then I stopped laughing. It's funny, right? We used to use computers, then we carried them, then we started wearing them, and now it feels like we live inside them. And somewhere along the line, we just stopped asking if we should let them in. We just started asking which room we should take next. And it moved beyond just simple tasks. My uncle passed away on a Tuesday. I sat there staring at a blank email to my cousin, and the cursor was just blinking and blinking and blinking. I had absolutely no idea what to say, so I emailed in. It suggested that he was a wonderful person who will be deeply missed. And yeah, the words were perfect and completely hollow. Ain't nothing about his awful jokes or the steady calm of his hands when he used to build those model trains. I just kept hitting backspace. A few months later, I was stuck again. This time, I was resigned from my job. So I asked the AI for a letter that was warm but firm. It gave me 4 clean paragraphs. I think I changed maybe 3 words, and my manager's reply came back, and with it, I felt this wave of relief, followed by this really strange deep hollowness. It felt like I'd won a game by letting someone else play my turn. Looking back at all of it, I felt like this new reality had just happened to me, you know? Like this quiet arrival that I never really consented to. I actually wrote that thought down just trying to get a handle on it. That sentence, yeah, that felt right. It really captured my own sense of passivity. This feeling that all this technology had just kind of seeped into the cracks of my life, totally uninvited. And then the machine replied. Its response wasn't an opinion. It wasn't an argument. It was just a log file of my own choices. It just listed them one by one. The smart compose I enabled, the sleep analysis I allowed, the location access I granted. Every single pop-up, every prompt. Invasion implies some kind of force. It didn't use any. I had simply, and consistently, chosen the path of least resistance. Its point was so sharp and so simple. My discomfort wasn't really with its presence at all. It was with the documented absence of my own. I wasn't being held captive by a machine. I was just surrounded by this perfect reflection of my own accumulated choices, all rendered in code. And that, well, that left me with a different kind of quiet, the deeper unease. It wasn't about the machine anymore. It was about me. What skills, what instincts, what parts of myself have just slowly atrophied from disuse? I found an old journal last night. Real paper, real ink, my own handwriting looked foreign to me. And one entry really stood out. It was about a day my phone died, and I spent hours just wandering around asking strangers for directions. I actually called it an adventure. Now my phone whispers to me before I even know I have a question. Leave now to arrive on time. We live in a world that is completely mapped and predicted and optimized, a world where we are never, ever truly lost. And I'm just left wondering, what's the cost of never having to find your own way?